Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and completely shatter the misconception that ancient virtues are just some exhausting, simple checklist. I mean, if you've ever looked at spiritual frameworks and just felt totally overwhelmed by how much you're supposedly expected to perfect, well, you are absolutely going to love this. We're digging into Scroll 81 of a profoundly classical text today to reveal a deeply interconnected holographic web of the mind. So instead of a linear to-do list, what we actually have is this elegant, dynamic system where mastering one single thing can literally unlock the whole shebang.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the web of virtues. Then we'll look closely at patience as the ultimate anchor, diligence as the unstoppable engine, meditation as the illuminating lamp, and wisdom as the master key. And finally, we'll talk about how you can find your own specific entry point.
All right, Section 1, the Web of Virtues and the holographic framework of the Paramitas.
So this entire framework relies on a seriously paradigm-shifting thesis, which is that mastering a single perfection naturally and automatically encompasses the rest. It's kind of like a hologram, right? Where every tiny piece contains the exact image of the whole. Now, let's quickly define our baseline, the 6 perfections: giving, morality, patience, diligence, meditation, and wisdom. Usually we tend to think of these as stepping stones, like you start at step 1, giving, and you painstakingly grind your way up to wisdom. But the source material completely flips this idea right on its head.
See, how you enter into this path depends entirely on your everyday life circumstances. Lay bodhisattvas, meaning practitioners just living out in the everyday world like us, might begin their journey through giving simply because we're constantly interacting with material wealth and everyday resources. But monastic practitioners who have entirely renounced wealth, well, they begin through strict morality and meditation. The text makes it absolutely clear there is no single correct starting line here, and that proves this framework is accessible to absolutely anyone, no matter what your daily life actually looks like.
And this triggers a wonderfully dramatic Socratic question from one of the Buddha's top disciples, Subhuti. He essentially asks, hold on, if someone is entirely focused on the internal practice of patience, how in the world are they simultaneously practicing the external act of giving? It's such a great question, and the answer completely changes how we view human endurance.
Which brings us to Section 2, patience, the ultimate anchor, and turning endurance into compassion.
The crucial takeaway here is that enduring hardship isn't just a passive thing, it's a deeply active state. When you're truly patient in the face of adversity, you are instantly activating generosity by dedicating your endurance to the benefit of others. You're maintaining morality because you straight up refuse to retaliate. Your refusal to retreat, well, that is the very definition of diligence. And by not letting your mind get hijacked by anger, you've just created the exact mental quietness required for deep meditation. You see how that works? One single virtue just seamlessly activated 4 others.
To really grasp this deeply, the text uses a pretty radical internal monologue. It describes someone enduring physical dismemberment, which is, of course, an extreme metaphor for ultimate suffering. But instead of anger, their internal thought process is, who is cutting me? I took on this body for the sake of living beings. They're just coming to take what is theirs. It's a pretty intense, striking visual from the source material, but it perfectly hits the nail on the head, showing how extreme patience, when it's combined with wisdom, completely dissolves anger. You aren't just grinning and bearing the pain, you're fundamentally transforming it.
Let's look at Section 3, diligence, the unstoppable engine, and the tireless drive for liberation.
Now let's see how diligence acts as its own gateway. An unstoppable drive to help even one single person across millions of worlds automatically fulfills the core requirements of giving. The source text literally talks about crossing countless universes to impart just one teaching. That sheer effort is the ultimate generosity. It fulfills pure morality because this tireless energy keeps you strictly on the straight path of truth. And for meditation, the text uses this visceral image of fighting wandering thoughts like you're wrestling a thief until you're physically sweating. Honestly, if you've ever tried to quiet your mind for even just 5 minutes, you know exactly how physically demanding that diligence really is.
And this totally captures the resilient mindset of diligence. It says, I must attain enlightenment for all. I will not stop, even if I find no one to teach. It's this unwavering commitment that just refuses to feel sorrow, even if no immediate results are seen. The text emphasizes that true diligence doesn't rely on some external feedback loop of success. It is entirely self-sustaining energy.
Moving on to Section 4, meditation, the illuminating lamp, and creating the environment for insight. The text uses this exquisite, vivid metaphor of a bright lamp shining clearly inside a perfectly sealed dark room. It uses this to explain how meditation naturally illuminates reality and creates wisdom. Think about it. When there's absolutely no wind to flicker the flame, when the room is completely sealed off from outside distractions, that light is steady, it's bright, and it reveals exactly what is in the room. That steady, unwavering flame is meditation, and the crystal clear sight it provides, that is wisdom.
So, what actually happens in that illuminated room? Well, when the mind is utterly still, it naturally results in a soft, harmless heart that effortlessly aligns with all the other perfections. Deep concentration just eliminates harmful thoughts, which is, by definition, perfect morality. It allows you to face terrifying, ultimate truths of reality without even flinching, which is deep patience. And from that incredible stillness, compassionate action just naturally manifests. The concentration here isn't about escaping the world at all. It's about preparing the mind to act perfectly within it.
Section 5. Wisdom, the master key, and the secret sauce of emptiness.
I absolutely love how the source walks us through this next metaphor. Imagine you're dreaming that you're drowning in a vast ocean. You're flailing your hands and feet in absolute sheer panic. Now, that's us, right? Trying to be good, trying to practice virtues with blind effort and all this underlying anxiety. But then you'll wake up. That waking up is wisdom. The exact moment you wake up, the dream, the water, and the struggle instantly vanish. Wisdom instantly purifies our efforts and ends our panic, not by fighting the water, but by realizing the water was never actually real to begin with.
And this is the real secret sauce of the whole framework. True, liberating action only occurs when we realize what's called the threefold emptiness. When you give something, you have to realize there is fundamentally no permanent ego-driven giver, no ultimate receiver, and no concrete gift to cling to. Now, I know it sounds a bit paradoxical, right? But the result is perfect action with zero attachment. You can act with immense love and diligence precisely because you aren't attached to the self that is supposedly performing the action.
Which circles us right back to that extreme example of patience we saw earlier. Wisdom transforms the sheer pain of patience into true liberation by completely removing the illusion of the self that is supposedly being harmed. As the text bluntly states, there is no one being cut, no one suffering. These are illusions of ordinary people. When wisdom guides patience, you aren't just gritting your teeth and pushing through. You have fundamentally stepped entirely outside the illusion of suffering altogether.
Finally, Section 6. Finding your entry point and mastering your unique gateway.
So the main takeaway you should leave with today is this. You do not need to tackle every single virtue at once. If you try to force yourself to be perfectly generous, patient, diligent, moral, meditative, and wise all on the very same day, you are going to fail and get incredibly frustrated. The source material is essentially giving us a massive sigh of relief here. Deeply mastering your natural strength guarantees you will unlock the rest. If you're naturally a generous person, lean into that generosity so deeply and with so much focus that it naturally makes you patient and wise. If you're naturally disciplined, let your diligence be the engine that pulls the entire train of other virtues along.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative question to chew on today. Which of the 6 perfections comes most naturally to you, and how are you going to use it as your gateway today? Honestly, don't worry about the ones you're bad at. Find your strength, turn that specific key, and just watch how the rest of the holographic mind simply falls right into place. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.